United States on this day. Commander Brian Coleman and past State Commander Phil Irby.
On behalf of VFW 773, we are privileged to give you this citation for your honor and your service to our community.
VFW Post Veteran of Foreign Wars of the United States Certificate of Appreciation awarded to Detective Alvin Babcock, Junction City, in grateful recognition of unyielding adherence to the highest ideals of law enforcement in maintaining, preserving, and protecting the lawful rights of all citizens. In witness hereto, we have hereunto set our hands and the official seal of the Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States today. Brian Coleman, Commander. Phil Irby, past State Commander.
At the Babcock, I would be remiss not to mention a lot of people that was taking care of this award for you. Past State Commander Phil Irby was a keynote person in nominating you for this award. I want to present this award because how much it meant to him, and he had presented to us, body of our VFW, to let you know what outstanding job you have done and what outstanding job you are doing for our community and for our nation. In that respect, that's why we chose you as our law enforcement officer, and I want you to take this as a token of our appreciation for VFW and for our community. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
This is presented to you by the 4th District. I'm the 4th District Commander of the FW of the state of Kansas, and you are a rock and a foundation of this community. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Don't go anywhere.
Get back in the center of us.
Yeah, get back over there. Oh. Kansas Veterans of Foreign Wars, 2018-2019, State Law Enforcement Officer of the Year, Alvin Babcock.
Mayor Landis, can you come down here too with us? And we'll yada yada.
And if we get the Chief of Police up there, he also has a plaque for the wall in the police station.
Take pictures or video?
On behalf of the Veterans of Foreign War of the United States, we as veterans, combat veterans, defend the idealistic of freedom around the world, and you as an officer here in our community protect people's rights and freedoms here in the city of Junction City. And it's my honor to present you this plaque. And Chief, this plaque will go to the Headquarters Police Department. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Say anything? Y'all want to say anything?
No, not yet. Not yet.
Not yet?
I got one more award to give them. Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States, VFW National Law Enforcement Award, awarded to Detective Alvin Babcock in recognition and sincere appreciation of his dedication and selfless service to Junction City Police Department. During Alvin Babcock's outstanding career, he has maintained a record of highly professional and exemplary service to the community and the nation. His extraordinary commitment clearly illustrates the proud core values and traditions of the law enforcement profession, further highlighted by the degree of administration and respect of both his peers and the local public he serves. Detective Alvin Babcock is truly an exceptional example of all who serve the community, and this honor reflects the proud ideals and high standards of the Veterans of Foreign Wars in the United States. In witness whereof we have hereunto set our hand and the official seal of the Veterans of Foreign Wars. The Commander-in-Chief and B.J. Lawrence, excuse me, and the Adjutant General.
Now you be getting this citation from my friend BJ, the National Commander-in-Chief, which the mayor's gonna give you, because I've been chasing BJ for a picture, but he's giving you a picture. Congratulations.
Now you can say whatever you want.
I want to thank my captain. She's kind of my rock. My wife is my rock back there. But come on
up here.
And then Trish, come on up. I know you want to say something too. Come on up. She wants to say something about me. I'll give 110%, but I'll let her talk real quick.
You're done now?
I'm done.
Oh, I just want, oh, we're not done?
I'm done. I want you to say something real quick. Go ahead.
Oh,
Say what
I
you
just
say.
wanted to say that he does truly give 110%. But then when it's lunchtime, if it's just like the Snickers commercial. You gotta throw food at him and then he's right back in.
Okay, you're done now.
Thank you.
But I will say on the last note here, John Haggerty was first place award in '05. Trish Delgado, I think you were in 11. And Al, this is our second time around, and you got third before, and I got you first place. So when I go to the state conventions, I got bragging rights on the law enforcement. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
National, too. National bragging rights.
Me being the post commander, also I am a National Veteran Service officer. I work for the NVS. And I work, and BJ is my big boss, big boss. So, in commemoration to him, I just want to express his gratitude to you as being a national recognized law enforcement officer. That is way up there, brother.
That's right.
And you're doing an outstanding job in this little, what they call us, podunk town of Junction City, Kansas. But we do great things for our soldiers and our veterans in our community. So being a national representative, I wanted to stand for you today and represent my national commander and tell you that we appreciate everything we do and everything you do down here in the state of Kansas.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right.
Al, thank you, sir. Congratulations. Thank you, sir.
Phil. Yep. I got a few. Chief, you got good people working for you. Mayor, thank you.
Great.
I'm out of here. I got some posts.
Thank y'all.
Always good to make time for great things like that. So, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Our next item, presentation regarding stormwater regulatory requirements and preparation for the 2018 MPDES MS4 permit to KDHE by PWD Iberra.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. My presentation won't be as exciting. This is basically nighttime, bedtime reading.
I'm looking forward to it.
But anyway, one of the requirements for our MS4 permit for the city of Junction City is that we have to have public involvement, and this is one way we can reach out to the public, to the commission, as well as to the public to understand what we do with the stormwater permit and the funding that we do for that. A little background information for those that are new to the commission. Stormwater Master Plan was completed in 2015. We've got 51 linear miles of urban stormwater system. We've got 60 linear miles of open channel system, and we've got a little over 1,700 inlets that we have to maintain within the city structure. Part of the requirements for the MS4, it was passed in February 1st, 2014, the Phase 2 requirement, And out of the requirements, there are 6 minimum control measures that we have to do. 1, education and outreach, public involvement, illegal discharge detection and elimination, construction of the BMPs, which is the best management practice, and then post-construction BMPs, and then the pollution prevention, good housekeeping management. Our permit requires that the stormwater management plan, we have the plan which AMAC has given to us in 14, and then also we have a monitoring plan. That is where we take samples within the city. And you can see right there, that is the first station that we take water samples from. Out of that sample is at the Republican River at the US 77 bridge. And then the second sample is taken down there by Public Works and Prices Ravine. And then the third sample is taken down by the river at that boat ramp at Grand Avenue. So when we do that, you have a clean sample. You have a sample of what happens when the stormwater is discharged into the system, and then what happens to the discharge of the water when it gets down at the Republican River Basin. We had an audit that was performed in August 4th, 2016, and they recommended that 4 minimum control measures needed to be looked at and added to, and public involvement and participation was one of them. Illegal discharge detection and elimination was the second. Construction site runoff and control was the third, and post-construction management and development of a new project. So that's what we're looking at to do for the 2019, is to redo our post-construction construction management control program. Also, under the recommendations, there were none for the public education and outreach and pollution prevention, good housekeeping, that they seem to think that we do a very good job of doing. The annual report is due on February 28th, 2019 of every year, and then the report includes all the activities that we do in best management practice for the 6 minimum control measures, and we try to incorporate whatever KDHE recommends to us in the 2018 report, and then when we do that, we list those on a report to them so they understand what we're trying to do. Stormwater funding, that people don't realize what we do with the stormwater funding. Right there is one of the things that we do. This happened to be in the 1200 block of Garfield. All the corrugated piping with all the salt broke through, so we had to end up taking that apart. And as you can see, that went between a couple houses, so it was kind of through our easement, and that was kind of a mess. You're looking at probably around $4,000 or $5,000 for us to make that repair on that piece of piping there for that inlet to get that water down through that ravine. There was another one in the 700 block right here. You can see where that pipe, 700 block of South Garfield, you can see where that pipe shifted apart from that inlet. Had to make that repair on that, and that was a couple $1,000 repair on that project. Some of that funding that we do is what I have up here is a future project that we're trying to do. This is Faith Tabernacle. The reason we're doing this is probably an estimate, engineer's estimate's $185,000. What we're trying to do is take that water that comes off the top of that parking lot, which if you've driven Eisenhower, you notice how bad that road is. And that's due because of all that stormwater that comes off of there. So you can see we're going to try to install 5 new inlets in there and control that water that comes off that parking lot and send it back down to this inlet, and we'll take it across and take it down to Homer's Pond. So that's some of the funding that's out there that we're going to try to make sure that we try to get that within this year's time frame. Another project that we're going to look at is Homer's Pond. We know that it's a high-risk dam, and with the funding from the Stormwater Fund, it'll be roughly around $550,000 is the engineer's estimate for that. What we'll do is right here, you'll see that we're going to open this channel up here on the outlet, and then the overflow tube is going to be shifted down through here. What we will do is reduce the size of that dam from 50 acre-feet to below 50 acre-feet, so then that way we're not in the high-risk category for insurance. So that's the other project that'll be coming up this year too. So those are some of the funds that we spend to try to correct some of the issues that we have with stormwater. And with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
I'd just like to say Ray does a super job with stormwater. We used to spend a lot of money filing reports and everything else, and Ray, along with assistance from Call Valley, our program's well approved by the state. We're meeting all the requirements and getting it done at a fraction of the cost. Good job, well done, Ray?
Oh, thank you, Mr.
Very much.
Dinkle.
Any questions for Mr. Ibarra?
No, sir.
No? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Commissioners?
Move on to new business. Next item is consider a request for funding from the Open Door Community House Incorporated in the amount of $2,500.
I don't see anybody here, so I'll run with it. Did have requests. They're trying to stay afloat as they apply for a grant, but they need some funding. They've asked for $2,500. The only concern I have is that setting the precedence. Even though I think it's something good for our community, I do, is it opening is that really where the city belongs into? I mean, from health and everything else, or is that more of a county thing? Good agency, and like I said, they serve people, but I think the only thing is where we're going to go as far as setting precedent on spending city funds. We do serve as their fiduciary agent in handling their state grant at no extra cost. We do that. And we handle all the money in and out because they can't get the money, it has to flow through us. And we've done that for a number of years. They didn't get a grant last year, but they're applying for one this year. And of course, we gave them a letter of support here not too long ago for some emergency funds.
In my thinking, Mayor, there's two charities in this town. All charities are good, but there's two charities in this town that have been viable components of this city for a long time, and one's the Open Door and the other one's the food pantry. I think both those provide, having been in the police department for 1978, if we had a homeless family come into Junction City, or a homeless family because of some issue that occurred, the only thing we could do prior to the opening of the Open Door was the Ministerial Association would give them a $5 voucher for each family member to eat at McDonald's one time and one night motel stay. That's it. That was all that we could do for homeless families when they came to Junction City, and I can't tell you over the years how hard it was, because those all were originated out of the police department until the Open Door came. The Open Door has always been a viable part of our community, and in some cases, I know it used to be a 30-day limit on families that were down on their luck or things like that, but I think that goes on a case-by-case basis, so I can't even compare the good things that this place has done. And I know what you're saying, Mr. Dinkle, I truly do. Yeah. But this is one thing that is a very important component. And a lot of the charities can't say that they do what they do for these homeless families in this town. And this is the only thing, I don't know if the Ministerial Association right now does anything. I think because the Open Door does it.
Right, I think there's support from them.
And I totally get what you're saying about other charities anyway, if we pick these guys out.
And I don't disagree.
But this particular thing, I mean, what we be able to, and what the Open Door does, and God knows we did everything in the police department, what we could to help them out and take people there and approve people to stay there and things like that. I'm 100% in favor of giving them the $2,500 if it helps them down in. And like I said, the other one I think is a food pantry that's very important, but that's how I feel about it.
That meeting that they had and invited some of us to that we went to in October and November, we threw out some ideas, some cost-saving things and things that we thought would help them. Do we know, have any of those been implemented?
I think if they wanted the money, they'd be here. I don't think there's any argument that they do good things. I don't think that's an issue at all. They receive some funds from the county, which comes from the city. I worry about recurring asks. So I worry about this happening each year, and now we're stuck. We're the bad guy if we don't give them money.
Have they Have we given them money before?
Is this the first time, or?
Not in my,
This is the first time that I've seen it.
not since I've been here, at least.
Okay.
Well, we could,
We've always
Like I
served
said-
as a fiduciary agent.
Yeah.
I agree, Mayor. I think that, that it can't be a common thing, but, I mean, it keeps them afloat for a while.
Yeah.
This is so important that,
I wish they would ask community foundations and things like that first, honestly. You know,
I think the only thing that kind of bothers me is what's the alternative? Because if the open door isn't up, that's, especially this time of the year with the cold and everything like that.
yeah.
That's what kind of bothers me, but.
it's the will of the commission.
I make a motion to approve the $2,500 in funds, $2,500 in funds be made available to the Open Door Community House on a one-time basis.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion or comment? All in favor of the motion respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-1. Next item is consideration to award the ball field renovations at Sertoma Park and South Park Fields 1 and 2 to Game Time Athletics in the amount of $22,705. Mr. Lazare.
Evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Yes, this item before you tonight is to come to you to award the bid to redo Sertoma, South Park 2, and South Park 3. These fields have been neglected for quite some time, and we just feel we're at a good point where we can bring these up to at least the level of the practice field. So a lot of our ball teams have a good practice facility to go to. Went through the normal bid process. Game Time Athletics out of Missouri was the low bid at $22,705. I do want to note it's not really part of this bid, though, is the way we did the bid spec is that the city will supply all the ag lime and topsoil, so there's about another $3,700 additional cost into that that's not under this. But by doing that, that just saves us about another $3,000 of trucking, because we can truck it ourselves, and anything that the vendors then would just put on top for themselves. Timeline would be May. I talked with the Game Time folks, and their schedule allows us to be done in time for May, and that would be about time for baseball practice to
If
start.
it stops snowing.
Well, I'm not going to say that. Normal years. So, be happy to answer any questions, but our recommendation is to award the bid to Game Time Athletics.
I know that was something we talked about during summer for the
Budget.
This
thing.
was something you guys
What
requested.
did we
in the budget.
allocate budget-wise? We're going to be good?
Yes, with the material, it's going to be right at what we put in there. We had got some
We said like
estimates last fall.
25 or something,
Yeah.
didn't we?
Well, I think that's
Yeah,
wonderful.
but then that's why I wanted to
exactly
mention
what
there's a
we
little
wanted.
bit extra in there, that $3,700 for
We're good.
materials. So it gets it right in the ballpark.
If it needs it.
That we'll pull from?
Not necessarily.
Oh,
It may be bitter dirt.
There's different grades.
Yeah.
oh.
All dirt's not created equal.
Considerable difference in price between the two bidders, so.
Yeah, it is. And, this PPC company is Precision Turf. They're the ones that bid on originally when we talked about redoing Rather prior to going to turf, when we were going to get it fixed for that 1 year. And they were double of what everybody else was too at that time. I think
Okay.
they just throw a number at it and hope to get it.
You've worked with Game Time before, haven't we?
Yeah, I was going to say,
Game Time's done a ton of work for us. They're a
thought
quality
they-
contractor.
yeah, those are familiar.
They do a lot of
that's some
our,
Rayford Field stuff, right?
they actually renovated it originally in 2000 when we really started ramping it up. They've been our go-to contractor ever since.
Any further questions?
I'll make a motion to approve the award bid to Game Time Athletics in the amount of $22,705.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion or comment? All in favor of the motion respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Thank you.
Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Lazare. Next item is consideration to authorize the city manager to sign the 2017 Justice Assistance Grant Certifications and Assurances by the Chief Executive of the applicant government form.
Chief?
Is that Chief Priest or is that Mr. Dinkle?
I'm going to take it, okay. Wrote the memo, so I didn't know who was going to take it. We applied for this grant, got awarded, and I signed like I normally sign because it was approved by the commission. They want a specific motion that gives me the authority to sign it.
Okay.
And they said, well, the mayor can give you authority. I says, no, the mayor can't give me the authority because we're a commission form of government. So simple motion here to give me authority. That way they're happy and we get our money.
Is there a motion?
Make a motion to allow the city manager to sign the form for the Justice Assistance Grant.
Second. Been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Next item is consideration of the updated criminal interdiction memorandum of understanding asset sharing agreement between the Junction City Police Department and the Geary County Sheriff's Department. Chief Precy?
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, that last item on the agenda, that seemed kind of easy, but we probably went through 6 months of emails back and forth with the federal government, and they probably put in hundreds of hours just on who gets to sign this thing. But hopefully they'll accept Mr. Dinkle's signature. I come before you tonight on a new kind of a program that we're involved in. It's a memorandum of understanding for an asset sharing agreement for a criminal interdiction team for the Geary County Junction City. Currently, we have an interdiction officer that's worked the interstates for 15 years. And the Sheriff's Department started a team about 4 or 5 years ago, and they've been pretty much working together during that whole time out on the interstates to try to detect and deter those drug dealers coming in from other states, especially, coming from west of us, headed towards Chicago. We thought it was time to enter into an MOU that they are a team and signify them as a team. And as teams share in expenses and assets received. And so this is a MOU that is probably a long time in coming, and we think we have it all set out right, and we would ask your permission to approve it.
Questions for Chief?
I make a motion to approve the updated criminal interdiction memorandum of understanding asset sharing agreement between Junction City Police Department and Geary County Sheriff's Office.
Second. Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Next item, consider the request to proceed with upgrade of the city network to 10 gigabytes. Mr. Grumman.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, yes, I come before you tonight to seeking your approval to upgrade our current network to a 10 gig connection. Right now, we're at 1 gigabyte, and I don't know if anybody has any comprehension of what that is.
10 is better.
Yes, 10 is better. Yes, 10 is better. What happens is, well, for example, over the last 15 years, we've grown so much in the amount of data that we have that right now we have 15 terabytes of storage just for user files, software, different things like that. For those of you who don't know what a terabyte is 1 terabyte is 1,000 gigabytes. So because of the connectivity speed of the network, that slows down performance of the software as well as trying to make backups of all this data. I did a full backup of our financial software, and it took 78 hours to do a full backup of all that data. I started it on Friday night at 9 o'clock, and it finished last night about 11. So that will help improve that performance. Cleaning up some of the files would help as well, but that's another story.
Does it help with stability too? Just because it helps with stability as well, right?
It does. That is my next project that I'll be bringing before the commission. We haven't done anything in the last 17 years other than replace switches. We haven't done any kind of upgrade to the infrastructure. I mean, that's like, to put it in a public works thing, that's just like
rusty pipe.
Yeah, well, not necessarily rusty pipe. That's just like throwing gravel on your asphalt, hoping that it's going to sink in when the asphalt gets hot to fix your roads. It's not a solution. So we've gone out and we have priced with several companies what it would cost to do, and we also looked at what it would take for staff to do it. Unfortunately, there's only 2 of us. And our best recommendation that we can come up with is the one before you for $123,000 with Data Edge. And what's good about this is they will come in, build an entire separate network, have it operational, have it checked before we start moving things over, so we don't have any downtime. And unfortunately, with just me and Mike, we can't do that.
And this was in the budget?
Actually, the next item on the agenda, item F, is the financing. We've talked with the Cisco, and they're willing to finance the project for a 3-year period at 1.9%. I don't want to take away from Lindsay's steam there, but, and we can't even get that on the open market.
Our last lease purchase that we went out for was 3.13%, to give you an idea.
Yes, and this is at 199,
Yes,
I believe.
199.
Anyway, the money that we would pay in 2019, I will take out of out of my budget in 2019 for our hardware, and also the sheriff's portion, because we'll be replacing some switches in the sheriff's department. 13,000 of that will be paid for by them, and that will make up the 2019 payment. The 42,000 in 2020 and 21 we will put into the budget process.
Will the sheriff also pay part of that?
No, this is just the hardware costs. Those are the hardware costs. There has been some talk at the sheriff's department that they want to go off on their own network, and that's why I told them, well, if you want us to upgrade your switches as part of this project, you're going to pay for them, because if you go off, we're not giving them to you. We're going to take them out.
Would this
So,
be eligible for asset forfeiture funds, because it's not a normal budgeted item?
I have no idea. That's the.
I'm just asking.
Yes, yes.
We're talking about the total city, right?
Yes, this is for the entire city.
That's going to be the
Yes.
problem there.
Well, I don't know if a portion of it because of the heavy use by law enforcement, because of all the video they have to store and all that kind of stuff.
I
That's
don't know.
my
Yeah.
point. Not all of it, but maybe a portion. Just a question.
As long as we can show there's a law enforcement purpose, we possibly could. But then that happens.
Yeah.
I don't want us to walk a line either.
Yeah,
I-
no,
Yeah.
no, yeah, no. I don't think it'd be walking a line, given their use of it, but I think we'd have to portion it out and
Understood.
and justify what percent is law enforcement related.
Yeah.
And so.
I was just thinking of
Yeah.
a means to help pay for it.
I mean, it could be done, because part of the project is to create redundancy, so where we would have, if one of the switches at the police department went down, there's a secondary switch, and they're connected to the municipal building.
Right.
But those portion that we would put at the drug task force and the police department theoretically could come out of that, but that's a finance question. I'm just a tech guy.
Just, if you guys could look into that.
Yes.
Maybe.
Sure.
But as it stands now, we do have the money available in this current budget to move forward with this project, if that's the question.
But if we're going to look into asset forfeiture,
I
we
think-
can't really push.
I think we got to be real careful with that.
I agree.
Yeah.
The governing body, I don't believe, can nor
Decide how to
have
spend
any
it.
control over where that money's supposed to go.
I'm not saying we do. I just,
Understand
has
that,
that been
but-
looked into?
It might be an option to
I think
worth
that's
looking
almost
at.
an
yeah.
AG's opinion type situation, so we don't get in any trouble over
Right,
that.
I agree.
You have to be really careful about that.
But I'm just asking for permission to
We can go
proceed
ahead,
with the
we can go ahead and
project.
approve it because we have the funds available and there's a plan in place, and that's fine. And if they were
We,
looking for another mechanism,
You know,
that's
this is
fine.
one of those items that should have been addressed. I mean, as we
Probably about
move-
10 years
as we
ago,
move through
yes.
our lesser financial crisis, you know, we have some of these makeup items we have to start doing now. If not, we're going to be in real trouble because we keep adding data, and Jim doesn't add any more to us until we do something like this.
And there's a lot of data through law enforcement.
But well, yeah, I agree. I don't disagree.
That's what I'm saying, that
It's not familiar with all that, you know.
it does make sense.
Jim, what will lack for this year when you pull the money from your budget? Or is something going to not get done?
No. Each year, I budget $25,000 in my budget to replace hardware, and that's what this is for. That with the, I have some other monies in other services that, like we rewired the municipal building with some new wiring, and we used other services to pay for that. I have another $10,000 in that. So with those combined, I can use that money with what the sheriff is going to provide to cover the cost for this year with no impact on the budget.
Any further questions for Mr. Grimmin?
I make a motion to approve the request to proceed with the upgrade of the city network to 10 gig.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion or comment? All in favor of the motion, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item is consideration of Resolution R 2887, authorizing lease purchase agreement for network hardware from Data Edge with financing through DLAG Landon Public Finance LLC.
Mayor, Commissioners, this is a continuation of what Mr. Gurman had said. This resolution simply authorizes the mayor to enter into a lease purchase agreement. As it was stated, it's 1.99% for 3 years.
My one question would be, if we've got the money for this year's, the 42,000, then are we going to be asking to finance 123, or we're taking the 42 from that and only financing 80 or whatever it is?
You want me to answer that?
Go for it, yeah.
The agreement with
think I
Cisco
have an
Capital to
amortization.
fund the project is for the total amount of $123,000. And then we will, in 2019, we will receive an invoice from Cisco Capital for that 42,000, and I don't remember the exact number. And that's what we would pay for with this current budgeted money. And then next year, in 2020 budget, we would see another invoice for the other 42,000, and that money would be budgeted as part of the 2020 process. Yes, but the total amount is the 123 that we are financing.
Thank you.
Is there a prepayment option?
I don't know. Do you know, Jim?
I believe there is, but I can
I thought there was too.
read it real quick.
What I'm saying is if we can discover that possibly use some other funds, the prepayment option could be used. Thought it was in there.
Section 5,
Yeah.
government body may pay certain capital expenditures in connection with the property prior to the receipt of the lease purchase proceeds from the property.
Yeah.
Make a motion to approve Resolution 2887 for lease purchase agreement with DeLag Landon Public Finance LLC for the purchase of network hardware.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Last item, consideration resolution R 2888 to set a public hearing date for the Neighborhood Revitalization Program amendment.
Mayor and Commissioners, we have to have a hearing to extend the program and remove the land bank, except for those two parcels that I mentioned in my letter that wouldn't get removed. On Wolf Creek, I think, or Wolf, whatever it's called. It was in my letter.
You said block.
Chisholm Trail, yeah, Block 1 Chisholm Trail subdivision, excuse me, and Block 2 up to 14th Street Commons. And the hearing be at the next meeting. We have to put notice, so we need approval to put the notice paper.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number R 2888, set a public hearing date for neighborhood revitalization program amendment.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Next item is executive session. Someone will read the,
I move that the commission recess for an executive session to include the city attorney and city manager for
10 minutes.
10 minutes at
7:40.
7:40 to discuss an individual
Yeah, 7:40.
employee's performance. The justification for the executive session is to protect the privacy of the employee's personnel record and is provided by KSA 75-4319B1. The open meeting is to resume in this room at 7:50.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are out for 10 minutes.
7:50.
Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we return from executive session where no decisions were made and no actions were taken.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor of the motion, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Commissioner comments. Commissioner Fitzgerald.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of quick things. Just like to give a big thank you out to our Junction City Fire Department and our Junction City Police Department for the awards that they received this evening. We all know in our community how hard our police and our fire works for us, and we do greatly appreciate you all. And we know you don't always get those thanks, but it was pretty evident tonight that it was very well deserved. We, this week, we have Mac breakfast, well, not this week, but the next Mac breakfast is next Thursday at the Gary County Convention Visitor Center, and the guest speaker will be Fort Riley Brigadier General Wassman, so he'll be giving us an update on Fort Riley and everything going on there. Also, just so everybody knows, that Division is very, very busy. Right now, their biggest focus with the troops that are left here, the headquarters and all, is command post exercises and their warfighter. Another thing that I thought was pretty interesting is, if you didn't know, with the military, they kind of missed their mark on reenlistments or soldiers coming into the military last year. So if you got a chance sometime, go to YouTube and look at that YouTube called Given All I Got. It's a new YouTube video that's out that a couple of Army recruiters have put together, and it's really a nice, fun video that really, I think, reaches out to our generations today to get you involved in the military life. And the last thing I would just like to say to our public works and our city workers, thank you all for working so hard to help keep our streets cleared, because we definitely have had a lot of snow and ice this year. And I know every time I'm out in it, you guys are out there helping to take care of the sidewalks, the parks, and the streets. So thank you all so very, very much. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Albritton.
Thank you, Mayor. Glad to have you back with us. Don't have much. We had an animal shelter meeting last week, and we're pleased to announce we got a sizable grant coming in a few months, coming in the future, so that'll help us out. Thanks, Vanessa, the director, for her hard work and applying for it and getting us the help we need. So hopefully there'll be some good improvements to our animal shelter in the near future. Just to kind of tag along with Commissioner Fitzgerald's comments with Public Works and the city workers, for this has been quite the challenging winter, so thank you for your hard work and keep up the good work. That's all I have.
Thank you. Commissioner Brown.
There was no Flint Hills Regional Council meeting this month due to the weather. It was supposed to have been a week ago last Friday, and they canceled it, so it won't be until next month. I am going to observe MPO meeting in March. Jeff has invited me to, because I am the alternate, so I'm going to go observe in the March meeting. I want to congratulate Detective Babcock and our fire department, Fire Marshal Nelson, on their awards. Very, very well deserved on their parts. With Al, I don't recall us having a national recognition. I know state before Dan, but I don't remember anybody getting a national recognition, so that's wonderful. Very good, very well deserved. I don't have anything else, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor.
MPO meeting is tomorrow and Chamber is next week, so I'll have those coming up. And then also this Saturday is the Black History celebration at the Eagles at 11 a.m. So should be a good event. That's it.
Very good. Commissioner Albritton's wife had a new child here recently. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you.
We had the EDC meeting this past week. Been a change in the chairmanship. Mark Powers is now the chairman. Graham Faust did a great job for several years in providing leadership. I don't know, they conned me into being vice chairman. I don't know why, but anyway. I want to kind of explain my vote on the open door thing tonight. I kind of voiced some concern I have about it, but I think as a one-time shot in the arm, I don't have a problem with it. I'm not going to allow it to be a recurring thing. They do provide a lot to the community. I don't want to see them go down, and then there's a lot of people that are left in harm's way, so I don't want to see that happen. And I will probably be giving them some money myself too to help them out. So they do provide a great service to our town, and we can't allow them to go away. So if anyone else would mind helping them out, that'd be a great thing. That's really all I have. Mr. Tinkle.
Chamber after hours is Thursday at IHOP at 5 to 7 or something like that. Because we were closed yesterday, and my wife had some eye surgery this morning, so I think that's all I got tonight.
Okay. Mr. Seitz.
I just have two things that are coming down the pipe in regard to the private trash hauler franchise fee question. Been in contact a little bit with the city of Marion and the way they handled it. And so I'm going to try to draft that and maybe show some different options to the city commission next time, as well as I'm just working on, based on what the league has put out in regard to the enhanced cereal malt beverage ordinances, just because the state law changed, that way we can be in compliance with it and have that ready for next time as well.
Okay, thank you. Chief Breesy? Chief Johnson?
Nothing, sir.
Mr. Ibarra?
We applied for the Tree City USA, and I just got the letter today that we've been recognized for a 43rd consecutive year, so we are one of 16 communities in the United States that have done it that long. There's three in Kansas plus us, so.
Awesome.
So that's the good news, so.
Great.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
We don't have to plan on tomorrow. Mr. Peterson? Mr. Youngers?
Dynamite to blow.
Sure. You're doing some renovation, I see.
What do I want to talk about? Flooring's going to be delivered tomorrow, and then construction should start thereafter very soon. Move the pro shop to the upstairs. We have a functional pro shop if the snow ever melts and goes away. So we're rolling pretty good with it.
Good, thank you.
Cool, thank you.
Mr. Lazare? Mr. Peterson? Oh. I was just checking, make sure.
You changed a lot. You changed a lot.
Mr. Gurman?
Nothing, just one thing, Channel 3.
Nothing, just one thing?
Yeah.
Well, first, thank you for approving the project.
Oh, our pleasure.
Second, Channel 3, I think the power supply in the unit's going bad, although I tried to record the Most Improved Students Award, and it lasted 4 minutes, but for some reason, it likes you guys. It's been recording the entire meeting, so be able to put that on the website.
Okay. Ms. Miller?
Nothing, sir.
Ms. Melton?
Lindsay and I actually attended a CDBG workshop this morning, so we learned about all of that, all the details and the deadlines and everything that's required. So that was pretty interesting, and they got us out early, so that was nice.
Great. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.